Well, hello everyone. This is Al-Fadi, and I want to welcome all of you, wherever you are globally. We are so thankful that you are taking the time to join us right now in this live stream. And if you are one of those that will be watching it later, we want to also thank you for taking the time to watch this video. With me here, a dear brother and a special guest that he and I have been collaborating together because of his Arabic background, similar to mine. And we wanted to tag team when necessary also to address things related to the Arabic of the Quran. And today is one of those occasions. We are going to analyze, or let's say feature portions or clips from a recent debate that took place between an Iraqi Christian by the name of Brother Husein and an Indonesian Muslim known as Ustad Solihi. I think it means Saleh, but I could be wrong. All that to say is that the debate was actually focusing on a very important chapter in the Quran, which is the very first chapter, first surah, known as al-Fatiha, or the opener. And rightfully so, because Muslims are required to read it in every prayer, in every rak'ah, every kneeling down, so which means that they have to read it 17 times at least. And this chapter is used for a variety of things. People can read it just for any reason, and it's read usually to, basically confirm an agreement, a wedding, a marriage covenant, and so on and so forth. Yeah, this is why it's a very important chapter. So with that in mind, Brother Hussein brought it to my attention, and we are going now to take a look at certain clips of this debate, and we will bring to your attention our own experience about this chapter, our own understanding of what's going on in the debate. And I am going to also highlight a few things related to variant text readings of this chapter, if time allows, because I want to give my brother here enough time to also address all of these clips that he took the time to prepare for us. With that in mind, brother, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. And I know I changed the topic on you. We were going to talk about something totally different. So thank you for your flexibility and your ability to go ahead and put these clips together. It's going to be a powerful, powerful show, and we know people will enjoy it. Why don't you, brother, first of all, let those who do not know you maybe know a little bit about yourself in terms of where is your channel, how they can subscribe to it, and then give us a background about this debate.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be on here. And my name is Husein. My nickname is Steve. Everybody calls me Steve, but my real name is Husein. It's my grandfather's name. But my father is Palestinian, and he's Muslim. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he was Muslim. And so I grew up Muslim until I was 15. And then when I was 15, I had a powerful visitation from the Holy Spirit while watching Oral Roberts on television. And this is like 44 years ago, and I've been a believer ever since. It was on Easter of 1978. And one of my things that I've had a burden for is to reach the Muslims, specifically my own people, the Palestinians, but also all Muslims. And so I've been involved with Father Zechariah on television and did different things. And I now have I have a YouTube channel called Husein Mashi. People want to go, they can subscribe to it. And then I also have my Facebook, and I thought, well, I'm going to stop the Facebook because I'm focusing on YouTube. But the thing is that I get a lot of interaction from Facebook. And so, I'll just keep both of them,
Absolutely.
So
I encourage you, brother, to keep Facebook. I've been asked many times by people to shut down Facebook, and I understand why people ask this because they're frustrated with it. But to know, brother, God is allowing us to use this platform to reach many people, so we're gonna keep it for as long as it lasts.
Yeah, until they kick us out, but they haven't.
Exactly.
Yeah, they haven't. And the only time I had Robert Spencer on once, and that time they blocked my video. But every other time I've had Father Zechariah on many times. They never. And a lot of Arabs are, especially the older Arabs, like in my village, they're sitting on Facebook all day long. And so this is, for them, it's very important. And that's what actually started me really doing this was the relationship I had with my village because of Facebook. So anyway, but what happened with this particular video that we're going to talk about today, this debate, is that a few weeks ago, this Indonesian team, YouTube is with Christian apologetics, is just rocking Indonesia. It's rocking the Islamic foundations. It's so powerful what God's doing with YouTube Christian apologetics in Indonesia. And so, there was someone who called me, like I was asleep. They woke me up at 5 a.m. because they needed a translator to translate for Husein. This is a guy from Iraq, and he was going to do a debate with this guy named One Way, but he doesn't speak English or good enough, so they want me to translate for him from English to Arabic. I mean, Arabic to English. And so I did that. Of course, the guy didn't show up. He made excuses to not debate him, but we did talk about several things anyway. And one of the things that Husein showed was an ancient manuscript of a prayer that the Assyrian, Chaldean, and Catholic Church in Iraq used to use. And this prayer is in the Syriac language. But what it is when and he recited it, it's the Fatiha. It's the Fatiha.
Chapter 1, the Fatiha of the Quran. Yeah.
But they changed, the Fatihas, that was changed, Arabized and everything like that. And just an interesting thing, I'm just going to throw this out right now, even though I don't, is remember that when Uthman told Zayd and there was 3 other guys, told them, you guys, here, rewrite the Quran rewrite the Quran. He says, and anything you don't understand or don't agree about, write it in the Qurayshi dialect. Correct. That means it was possibly in another language.
Exactly. I mean, these things are incriminating right now.
Yeah. It's just unbelievable. And this is what blew my brain, is that if you remember, why did the Uthman go through the burning of the Qurans? Why did the Uthman tell the guys, come on, we need to come up with a standard Quran? It's because of problems between Syria and Iraq. Well, it was the Qurans of Syria and Iraq. And what was in Syria and Iraq? That's where these books come from. That's where the Chaldeans, the Catholics, the Assyrian Christians were. That's where all these problems were. And they took those Qurans, translated them into the Qurayshi dialect. Well, so I'm just going to, Husein just blew this thing up, man. And
well, actually, I just want to encourage you. You're on the right track with this thinking, because as you've been tracking or following what I've been doing with Dr. Jay Smith, because we're focusing on that region right now, and it seems like there's enough evidence. Yeah,
it's unbelievable, because I've been following all the German stuff and all that. Dude, this is exactly the same. But the amazing thing is, we really have a real advantage when you know the Arabic, because the Chaldeans know about this already. The Assyrians know about this already. They already knew this, about the Quran being an Assyrian book and all this stuff. They already knew about this. And there's so much. It's huge. I want to be careful I don't go off track here, because it's so easy to do that, because there's so much information. But this guy, Husein, when he spoke about the Fatiha, that caused an earthquake in Indonesia. The Muslim apologists, they're calling for his head and everything, like they do the Father Zechariah, and it really became a huge controversy in Indonesia. And so they said, we want to debate him. And he said, sure, let's debate. And so they got one of their top guys, who's this guy who's on the video. And dude, I'll just tell you, just for those who don't want to stay around for the whole thing, dude, he destroyed him. Husein was so perfectly prepared, so intelligent, so articulate in response, and so professional. He gave chapter, verse, page, everything. And he was ready for every question that this imam put forward. He destroyed him. And so, one thing I've heard that they're doing in Indonesia now is they're downplaying this video. They're saying they're trying not to show it, like it wasn't a big deal, even though they're the ones who asked for it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just show you some of the stuff that Husein said, the fact that his name is Husein is a good thing in my mind, since that's my name. Yeah, but anyway.
So let's explain to people what we're going to be doing, so they can track with us. You have clips, and you are going to play these clips one at a time, and
Yes.
you and I are going to make some comments on these clips, correct?
That's correct. Yes. So
all right,
I'm just going to go ahead and start just showing you some of these videos. And the reason that I want to show these, the reason I want to show it is these are arguments you guys can use. You can use this stuff for when you're witnessing to Muslims. It's powerful stuff. Some of it is amazing. So
let me tell people that it is in Arabic, so you and I are going to have to explain it to them in English, obviously.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, while you're looking for it, I want to just welcome everybody who's joining us. And I can see that Sister Amina is here. Sister Amina, thank you so much for joining us again. I pray that you are here because of our invitation to you the other day, and we're excited to have you, of course. So go ahead, brother. This is the first one. You want me to play it?
Yeah, I want you to go ahead and play it. This is one of the first videos. This is part of the debate. Okay, this is one of the things that he said that, again, there's something you can use in witnessing to Muslims.
Yeah. So if any of you is watching right now or just joined us right now, please be patient. It's a clip in Arabic. I tell you this because I know sometimes people start complaining to me that it's in Arabic. I get it. It is a clip in Arabic. We are going to explain to you what the clip is saying after we play it. Okay? All right, let's do it.
أخوتي، نحن عندما نقول إنه القرآن ليس من عند الله بل هو من تأليف إنسان، نحن نملك الأدلة على ذلك. فمثلا الصحابة أنفسهم هم كانوا يقولون ذلك ويعرفونه. مثلا عبد الله بن عباس يقول: إذا خفي عليكم شيء من القرآن، يعني إذا ضاع شيء من القرآن فاتبعوه من الشعر، قد سن أصحابك ضرب الأعناق وقامت الحرب بنا على ساق. يعني ابن عباس يقول: إذا ضاع جزء من القرآن عليكم أيها الصحابة فكملوه في الشعر. هذا إثبات قاطع أن القرآن من تأليف بشر ومن تأليف الصحابة، وهم الذين كانوا يزيدون عليه وينقصون. هذا في ابن حجر العسقلاني في فتح الباري حديث جزء 13 صفحة 437 خلاصة حكم المحدث إسناده حسن. فالحديث حسن يثبت لنا أن القرآن من تأليف بشر وكانوا يزيدون عليه من الشعر إذا ضاعت آياته.
Okay. Would you like to translate?
Yes, I mean, I'm going to give people the gist of what was going on. This is the Iraqi Christian guy, Husein, who's talking right now in the video. And the Arabic that you see on the slide is basically his own sources that is using to defend the fact that the Quran in general actually is man-made. I mean, we could have said that a long time ago, but he has proven it from a source. This source is Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas is supposedly, of course, the cousin of Muhammad. He's known as the father of the Islamic tafsir or Quranic tafsir or commentary. And Ibn Abbas says that he has basically heard or stated that if any part of the Quran is lost or is not found, that the companions can complete it from poems. You take the Arabic poems that are available and you just complete the Quran from there. In fact, we have precedents for this. Some of the poems that were known as the mu'allaqat or the hangers were borrowed and actually incorporated into the Quran and became part of the Quran itself. It's just a very well-known incidents that some of the passages in the Quran actually originated from pre-Islamic poems that existed. So he was stating this fact and gave also the reference to a very well-known source, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. And he is definitely a very well-known Islamic scholar. So all that to say is that this clip helps us to understand that the Quran, and as Brother Husein, the Christian guy, said, is a man-made book. Now, Brother Husein Mashi, go ahead and comment also.
Yeah, well, you know that the amazing thing, he got all the sources and he just said, I think we let them off the hook too easy. When you got stuff like this, I think we let them off the hook too easy. You've got to deal with this. You have to deal with the fact that the Sahaba said this, the companion said that. Said, if you, and it's from Ibn Abbas, Muhammad's cousin, I mean, one of the top sources of hadith, and they're saying, if you lose something from the Quran, just fill it in with poetry. It's just like, is that on the preserved tablet? I mean, it's a huge problem, and it's in the hadith, and the grade is Hasan. It's a good hadith. It's not like a da'if hadith. So anyway, and there's one other thing. I did not take the clip of it, but there's this other time where Muhammad is dictating to his scribes verses and stuff like that. And there's one particular controversy about, alim or azim or something like that. And Muhammad tells him, and he's got the source. Muhammad says, "Iktib ma shit." This sounds like bad in English. Write what you want. Muhammad told them this. Write what you want. And he asked the question. This is in the hadith. How could you say write what you want? Isn't this from the preserved tablet?
And this incident took place with a scribe known by the name Abdullah ibn Abi Sarh. And,
yes.
David Wood did a video on that a couple of years ago. Anyone can search about this. This is a scribe that Muhammad was using. And the scribe discovered that he will make suggestions for Muhammad. And Muhammad will say, okay, well, that's how it was revealed. So after a couple of incidents, this scribe realized that he was actually dictating to Muhammad what should be written in the Quran. And Muhammad was okay with it. So he ended up leaving Islam. And Muhammad got upset, and allegedly a verse came down to go after him. And then when Muhammad, at least according to the traditional story of Islam, when they conquered Mecca, he went after him and asked people to find him. And it wasn't other than Uthman who came, actually. I should say another person. I think it is Uthman, but it could be another person. My memory just failed me at the moment. Came, who was a cousin with this guy, yes, and interceded on his behalf. And kind of like Muhammad left him alone, did not harm him or kill him. But after he left, Muhammad looked at the people behind him and says, I was quiet. You should have chopped his head. I don't know why you didn't do that. So he was really upset, the fact that he embarrassed him. And of course, for the right reasons, because this scribe, Abdullah ibn Abi Sarh, realized that the Quran is just a mumbo jumbo human being kind of like, wording, nothing more, nothing less.
Yes. And that particular incident is very interesting because that verse is in the Quran. It's in the Quran today. The verse that this was controversy because, Abdullah ibn Sarh, what he said is Muhammad was describing the, Quranic fetal development. And then this guy, Abdul, Sarah, what he said? He says, wow, Allah, Afdal al-Khaliqeen, Allah's the best of creators. And then Muhammad tells him, yeah, put that in the Quran, man. That's that's the way, that's great. Put that in the Quran. And then the guy says, put that in the Quran? I'm the one who said it. And Muhammad said, no, put it in the Quran. And then the guy said, you know what? I realized, wait a minute. If I'm inspired, that means I'm a prophet. And I know I'm not a prophet. But that means that Muhammad's not a prophet either. and he, but that verse is still in the Quran, the best of creators. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And people can go and read the entirety of this tradition on our famous website, answering-islam.org. You can find it in there as well. And by all means, like my brother says, we share these things with you because we want you to use it. And we want you to help our Muslim friends realize that these are the things that they have to deal with. And I say this because many times you meet Muslims who are really well-meaning Muslims that are passionate about Islam, zealot for it, but they have no clue about any of these things that we're sharing with you. And when they find out, they feel betrayed. They feel embarrassed. And yes, they get angry at the beginning, which is a normal reaction when they think like you're attacking their faith. But obviously, we have to share the truth and love with them, and we want to set them free. but we need to equip you and empower you with these sources. So, brother, what about the next clip?
Okay, here's the next clip, and so I will go ahead and show it, and then we'll explain it. Okay.
All right, we'll go ahead and do that.
سأعطيك دلائل أخرى. محمد قال إن جبريل قال لي إن قرآن ابن مسعود هو القرآن الصحيح. إن القراءتين كانت أخبرنا قراءة أي القراءتين كانت أخبرنا قراءة عبد الله أو قراءة زيد. هذا في سلايد 6 brother ويبي سلايد 6 إن أي القراءتين كانت آخر قراءة الله أو قراءة زيد. قال فقلنا قراءة زيد. قال إن رسول الله كان يعرض القرآن على جبريل كل عام مرة، فلما كان في العام الذي قبض فيه يعني توفى عرضه على جبريل مرتين، وكانت آخر القراءة قراءة عبد الله ابن مسعود، يعني الراوي ابن عباس شعيب الأرناؤوط، حديث 2494 خلاصة حكم المحدث الصحيح. التخريج أخرجه النسائي في السنن الكبرى حديث 7994 وأحمد حديث 2494. فمحمد كان يعرض القرآن على جبريل حسب اعتقادكم، وجبريل قال له إن قراءة ابن مسعود هي القراءة الأصح. دعونا نرى المفاجأة. محمد قال خذوا القرآن من ابن مسعود. ذكر عبد الله بن مسعود عند عبد الله بن عمرو، فقال ذلك رجل لا أزال أحبه. سمعت النبي يقول خذوا القرآن من 4 من عبد الله بن مسعود. فبدأ
Unfortunately, something went wrong. So we are going to wait for our brother to come back here. In fact, let me just message him real quickly to make sure that he comes back again. And I will make some comments on this. And we may have to replay it again, by the way, folks. So just 1 second, everybody. I will be back. Okay, we have our brother. I'm not so sure what happened. So you want to play it one more time? At least take it to the middle, or we can comment on it, and you can bring the next video. So yeah. You remember? I mean, do you want me to say?
Okay. You go ahead and say it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the video that we just watched right before this, I don't know what happened. It just the call dropped. The video, the gentleman, which is Husein the Christian, I'm going to call him Husein the Christian, who is the debater, was stating that, this is a well-known tradition, by the way, that Muhammad supposedly every year, and the claim is that during the month of Ramadan, the angel Gabriel will recite the entirety of the Quran up until that point with Muhammad. But then in 1 year, he recited it twice with Muhammad. So allegedly, Muhammad knew that that would be the final year and he's going to die. I mean, this is what the Islamic tradition would say. And he says, Muhammad says that the recitation that he did was according to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, one of his scribes, according to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud's Quran. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was one of the prominent scribes of Muhammad. And in fact, it's stated here that Muhammad says, take the Quran from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and that Gabriel told him that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud's Quran is the one that you ought to take from. Now, here is the problem with this for our Muslim friends, of course. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud's codex did not acknowledge chapter 1 of the Quran, did not acknowledge chapters 113 and 114. So you are missing 3 chapters in Abdullah ibn Mas'ud's codex. This is in the Islamic traditions. I'm not making this stuff up. You can Google it yourself. Go to answering-islam.org. Just do a quick Google. Also, you'll come across this. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud had 111 surah or chapters. The Quran today, known as the 1924 Cairo edition, has 114 chapters. Now, Ibn Mas'ud says he didn't acknowledge the first verse, the first chapter, which is the one we're talking about, al-Fatiha, the opener, because he said it was just a prayer. He didn't take it as something that was inspired. And he did not also acknowledge the last 2 chapters, known as Surat al-Falaq and Surat an-Nas. he says those two are considered to be mu'awadat, meaning you use them to cast out demons and magic, basically, tricks, if you wish, because Muhammad was allegedly infected by a magician, and he casted, basically a curse upon Muhammad, and Muhammad used these two prayers to release himself from that curse. So Ibn Mas'ud says those were just prayers. They were not inspired by Allah. He was one of Muhammad's scribes, so you should know that the guy was writing everything that Muhammad was sharing with him. So this is what our brother Hussein, the Christian, was talking about. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and he was saying, if you get Muhammad, Gabriel told you, Muhammad told you, from Gabriel, the Quran you're supposed to have is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Gabriel told Muhammad that. Muhammad said, if you take the Quran, take it from 4. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud is one of those 4. And so you have Muhammad and Gabriel telling you this is the Quran you're supposed to follow. But Abdullah ibn Mas'ud doesn't have the Fatiha, Surat al-Falaq, or Surat al-Nas. He has 3 chapters that aren't, including the Fatiha, which is what this debate is about. And, it's like, what do you do with that? How do you just, say, oh, no, that's okay. Gabriel said it. I mean, so what if Gabriel said it? So what if Muhammad said it? And it's just, it shows you, I think, it's almost like, you know what? We're letting them off the hook too easy to just say, no, it's okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. Dude, you're disobeying Gabriel with the Hafs Qur'an, with the 114 surahs. And then he also said to take up, Ubay ibn Ka'b, and Ubay had 116 surahs. So it just shows you the confusion and the whole mess that was here, And then the fact that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud did not approve of what Uthman did. When Uthman told Zayd, write this Quran, he didn't approve of it. And so there's so many problems here, And so, but, I think that with what Hussein did there, in showing that, it's a powerful argument, that, that the Fatiha, against the Fatiha, that they're not supposed to, that it was not originally in the Quran, And so, anyway, so, here we're going to show you another clip right now.
Okay, so we're going to show you, folks, another clip. Again, folks, we're doing our best to take something that is done in Arabic and translate it for you. We're giving you the summary, okay? So I don't want to receive a text tomorrow saying, oh, I mean, you missed this word, or we're just giving you an overview, a summary. I wish really when they were doing the debate, they did like subtitles in English. I'm sure those things, will take time. Yeah. But, we're doing the best we can to try to relate to you what took place in that debate, sharing just clips from that debate. So we're going to play another one right now.
لم يكن يقرأ سورة الفاتحة في الصلاة. وأعطيتك الدليل من البخاري ومسلم أن محمد لم يكن يقرأ لا هو ولا أبو بكر ولا عمر. في عهد علي من الممكن أن دخلت. كيف دخلت؟ قرأت لك في السلايد 3 اليوم في الصلوات في الكنيسة الكاثوليكية والكلدانية والكنيسة المشرق الآشورية يقرؤون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأيها الآب الرحمن الرحيم في picture فبيكتشر سلايد 3 براذر ويبي بيكتشر سلايد 3 هذه الصلوات اللي طرحتها إليك هذه كانت مأخوذة كتابها مثل ما أعطيتك الراهب اللي جمعها وأخذها من القساوسة في السلايد 3 وكانوا يصلون بهذه الصلوات وكانت انتشرت واشتهرت عندهم فأخذوها من العراق تقريبا أخذوها من مسيحيين العراق بعدما غزا المسلمين العراق والدليل على ذلك إن محمد لم يكن يقرأ سورة الفاتحة وأعطيتك الدليل فأنا سؤالي كيف كان محمد لا يقرأ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وسورة الفاتحة بالصلاة وأنتم اليوم إذا صليتم بدون الفاتحة تبطل صلاتكم تفضل جاوب.
Okay.
So this one, this clip was, by the way, was very powerful actually. And just for the benefit of everybody, the clip is stating that Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, never recited chapter 1 in his daily prayers. Now, again, why is that crucial? As I stated earlier today in the beginning, at the beginning of our live stream, chapter 1 of the Quran, al-Fatiha, the opener in English, must be recited by every Muslim when you pray. In every kneeling, by the way, not just once during the prayer. Every time you kneel, there is Surat al-Fatiha is the one you start with, and then you can read another part of the Quran. And our brother Husein, the debater, Husein the Christian, the debater, stated that and also supported his claim that Muhammad himself, nor Abu Bakr, and he, I think, stated that Umar, if I remember, the first two caliphs after Muhammad, including Muhammad, never read this chapter. And the claim was, the reason why they didn't read it, that it wasn't known to them until they invaded Iraq, and they became more aware of it from the Assyrian church of those days, one of some of their liturgy, basically, and the readings and lectionaries, maybe, I don't know. He decided, or they decided, to start to read it. Now, when I heard this first, when you sent it to me, brother, before the show, I went and I investigated to make sure, you know, that we do not want to really say something that somebody might claim that is not true. While there are some hadith stating that Muhammad emphasized the importance of this chapter, first of all, we know that the hadith cannot be reliable because they're written at least 240 years after the death of Muhammad. Number two, I could not find a single hadith that stated that Muhammad read this chapter. In fact, I found traditions that listed all of the chapters that Muhammad, or his favorite chapters that he used to recite in his prayers. Al-Fatiha was nowhere to be found in that particular list. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah. And, you know, there's actually another clip that I wanted to show before this one. And so I will go ahead and show that other clip. But, you know, the amazing thing is, and we're also going to talk about this with another clip. And so is that he's saying that even Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, you know, the line that's at the beginning of every single surah, this was in the Assyrian books. They had this in their books already. And it, you know, that, and and one thing Husein said is Muhammad didn't say that either. He didn't say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And he's saying, how can you guys be now reciting the Fatiha and Bismillahir Rahman when your prophet did not do that? And so, you know, this was, but let me just go ahead and I want to play this other video because it's right in line with this. Okay, this one right here, because this one, he gives actual sources on it about Muhammad. Let me see. Is this the one here? Okay. Can you put this one?
Okay, let's do it.
تقول إنه مثلا تتهم إنها غير محققة، أنا أعطيك من الواقع أيضا. تعال، في حديث لدينا دليل قاطع أن نبي الإسلام لم يكن يعرف سورة الفاتحة كما ادعيت أنت أنه كان يعرفها. إن حذيفة قدم على عثمان بن عفان. لا ليس هذا. سلايد 3 brother ويبي سلايد 3 يقول أقدم مخطوطة قرآنية توجد فيها سورة الفاتحة هي مخطوطة صنعاء اللي مكتوبة DAM 01 شارحة 25.1، ومخطوطة صنعاء كتبت بعد 300 سنة من محمد. فهذا دليل إنه المسلمين اقتبسوها وسرقوها من مسيحيي العراق وسوريا ودول الشام بعد احتلالهم لهذه البلدان. وإليكم الدليل إن محمدا أصلا لم يكن يقرأ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم في صلاته ولا الفاتحة. عن أنس بن مالك قال: صليت مع رسول الله وأبي بكر وعمر وعثمان فلم أسمع أحدا منهم يقرأ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الراوي أنس بن مالك، المحدث مسلم، صحيح مسلم حديث 399 خلاصة حكم المحدث صحيح، أخرجه البخاري حديث 743 ومسلم حديث 399. فمحمد وأبي بكر وعمر وعثمان لم يكونوا يقرأوا سورة الفاتحة.
Yeah, so this was powerful. So it's the same thing that we just mentioned to you, and somebody's asking us to drop these links. You know, brother, let's work on finding a way to have these links at another time, and then we will put them in a description box for this video. And I want you to also, after we do the live stream, you're free to take this video also and put it in your channel. So we will have these links for people on both of these channels as well. So we will do that. Please just be patient, and we will do the best we can to do it for you. Now, what he was stating is that he gave us a source. This is Husein, the Christian, the guy who is the debater, gave us a source by Anas ibn Malik. Now, who's Anas ibn Malik? I mean, he's a big deal. Anas ibn Malik was one of those that at least lived at the time of the companions. And he was one of also the Sahaba who have known Muhammad, even though he was very young at that time. All that to say is Anas ibn Malik is the one who says that I never heard Muhammad or Abu Bakr or Omar, and he added Uthman also, ever reading al-Fatiha when they were praying. Now, how would he know? I mean, you might say, well, wait a minute. I mean, when they're praying, aren't they reading it secretly? No, no, no. There are some prayers during the daily prayers that you can read it jahara, meaning you read it loudly so people can hear what you're reading. This is how he was able to understand, or at least depict, the fact that Muhammad never read it, and Abu Bakr, who is the first caliph, never read it. Omar, who is the second caliph, never read it. And he added Uthman, who is the third caliph, who, by the way, was the one that ended up invading Iraq and modern-day Syria, and the whole debacle that happened between the Syrian readers and the Iraqi readers that prompted Uthman to recollect again or compile the Quran one more time. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, this is it's just mind-blowing, man. That Muhammad, I mean, he's giving you a source that Muhammad did not recite the Fatiha or Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, but they were in the Christian books. They were in the Christian books, and they existed already. And, it just kind of like, and then when you add the dimension of the Syria, Iraq, or the man dimension, and then he even will talk a little bit later about the Ali dimension, about when Ali, what happened with Ali, and so it made so much sense that all of these pieces that are just kind of dangling out there in your understanding of the compilation of the Quran, about the contents of the Quran and everything else, it all starts to kind of fit together like, oh, there's something else going on here. And I know this is also what the Germans are beginning to say now, and what Jay Smith has been saying. And so I thought this was so timely, that they did this. And you guys, it's made such a huge impact in Indonesia, which, that's kind of the other exciting aspect about this, is what's happening in Indonesia among the Muslims. They are watching YouTube. They are hearing these things and these arguments. And so anyway, let me just go ahead now. I want to go ahead. So.
Before you add another clip, I want to mention to people that I get sometimes pushback, believe it or not, sometimes even from believers saying, I don't know why you are insisting that Muhammad, for instance, possibly didn't live or didn't exist, or that Mecca wasn't a real city at the time of Muhammad, or Islam, or the rise of Islam came from north, or so on and so forth. Well, here's why, folks. Until you present me with clear evidence, okay, a manuscript, a part of the Quran, archaeology, or any writings that dates back to this standard Islamic narrative date of the 7th century, until you provide evidence like this that can refute claims like this, I'm left with no choice but to say everything we are seeing right now or uncovering is pointing north and pointing to a later dates than the traditional dates. There is nothing wrong with this. This is scientific research. We're presenting evidence. We are more than happy and willing to accept any refutation with evidence that are solid against ours. Until then, I do not want to hear these complaints. I do not want to hear anything related to this as if we're fabricating things. We're using Islam's own sources sometimes to show that everything about the history of Islam has developed at a later date. The biography of Muhammad, the first 130 years after the death of Muhammad, most of it was lost. Then came Ibn Hisham, about 180 years after the death of Muhammad. You ask yourself, folks, are you telling me eyewitness accounts lived for 180 years? I'd love to know who are these people that lived for that long. And then you have the collection of hadith, Bukhari, 240 years after the death of Muhammad. In fact, I'm going to add another caveat to this. The earliest written manuscript of the Bukhari hadith dates 500 years after the death of Muhammad, meaning even a proof that it ever existed. So please, folks, let us not play these games with each other, and let us focus on these damaging evidence now coming from different scholars. By the way, you've heard Husein mention the German scholars. Well, here's what's going on. They are realizing that we are using their research material already, and we're bringing it to light. So they have no choice but to acknowledge now that the research that they've been doing for decades is being uncovered already. So they knew these things all along, but out of fear of retaliation against them or losing their academic post, they hesitate to come out publicly. But now we're living in a different era. Welcome to the era of social media, YouTube, Facebook, and company. I'm telling you, folks, you can hide things all you want until we get a hold of it, and then it will become history. So you do your best as much as you want. I'm talking to those who are scholars who do not want their material to be known. When we get a hold of it, it's going to be right here, front and center, because we want to acknowledge research that is done. We're not trying to get anybody in trouble. We are going to give resources. We're going to give credit to those people who've done the research. We want to thank them for their hard work. But I care for my Muslim people so much that I want them to be set free from the bondage of Islam. Go ahead, brother. So which one you want me to play now? You have, you have added a new one? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna, but I just want to say one thing too, and and I already said it, but I just want to repeat this, with what's going on with the German stuff, and is that with the Arabic, there is a dimension that a lot of this stuff, the Assyrian church knew about this already. They know about this already. They knew it long time ago. And right now we're discovering it in the West, because of some these researchers and stuff. But you know what? A lot of these churches, they already knew all this stuff. This is not like something new. It's new to us, but it's not new. It's been out there, and I've heard for years about the Fatiha being the Assyrian prayer and all this stuff, but I haven't really, dig into it and actually looked into this and to see the amazing proof and evidence that is out there. So anyway, this is another clip here.
Wonderful. So we're going to play the clip one more time, folks, for those who may be joining us right now, for those who might be watching it later. We play the clip. It's in Arabic. We come back, and myself and my brother Husein here, we give you the gist of it in English. We are going to do our best, me and Husein, to try to find these links for the same sources in English, because they're available in Arabic, but we're going to try to find them in English. If not, we'll give you the Arabic anyway, and we'll make sure we put it in the description box. So give us just, some time to be able to do so. All right, we're going to play this one.
رقم 151 العربية للكتاب المقدس في دير القديسة كاثرين في جنوب شبه جزيرة سيناء بالقرب من الجبل الذي أعطى الله للنبي موسى الوحي والوصايا العشر في مصر. في بني الدير هذا في عام 548، يعني قبل أن يولد النبي محمد، وكتبت به في ذلك الوقت هذه الكتابات. المخطوطة العربية للكتاب المقدس، المخطوطة مكتوبا أيضا على كل سفر من أسفار الكتاب المقدس بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. So he's referring to the oldest known Arabic, Bible manuscript known as the 151, manuscript 151, found at St. Catherine's Monastery, which is near the traditional site, I emphasize the word traditional site of Mount Sinai in the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. I say this because now there is an alternate location that could be the possible location for Mount Sinai in the northwest corner of Saudi, which I had the privilege of doing also a video series on that with my brother Joel Richardson. I encourage you to go and watch that. But all that to say, he's saying that this Arabic manuscript of the Bible had the phrase, or what we call the Basmala, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, meaning in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, the most merciful and most compassionate, I should say. So, which is, by the way, found in the Quran. And that's a whole different ballgame. By the way, Husein, you and I need to talk about just the Basmala alone, because there is so much debate about whether it was inspired or not, whether it was added by Muhammad or someone else, whether it's mandatory to be read or not. I mean, right there, you have at least 113 additional verses in the whole Quran if it is man-made, right? If it is man-made. I say 113 because chapter 9 does not have it, although there is another chapter that has it as part of the Quran, but I'm focusing on this one. When you open every surah, every chapter of the Quran. So what he was saying is you find this phrase, this formula, which is in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. You find it basically, or I would say the most merciful, the most compassionate. Bismillah ar-Rahman, merciful, Rahim, compassionate. You find it in this Arabic Bible. In other words, he's trying to use it as a proof that it was stolen from the Arabic or the Syriac Bible and applied to the Quran. Go ahead, brother.
Well, he was saying that, this was written, before the birth of Muhammad, and they were using that phrase. And in fact, I didn't show the whole video. Did you want to keep that?
Yeah, I want to say this, brother, because I've done some studies on 151. I would hesitate to say that it was written before the birth of Muhammad, because the dating is late 9th century. Oh. But still, the claim is that it is found in this Arabic Bible for a reason. Some will say, well, it's found in the Arabic Bible because probably the Christians who wrote it were intimidated by Islam. But no, why would they use this formula in the Arabic Bible? Why would they have to use it in the first place? So it could be the other way around. It's traditionally found in the Arabic Bible, but it was borrowed and added to the Quran.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know that. It's good to be. Did you want to leave this screen like this, where we're not showing?
No, we will. I'm sorry. Yeah, we need to.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Right. So yeah. Anyway, just the fact that he's said that it's come from two different places. Even the Bismillah, it's from. He mentioned it here with the St. Catherine. But he also mentioned it coming from Iraq. And this was to where, you got it as if the Christians were using it, in different places, and that it has a Trinitarian. Well, one of the times where he recites it, it's in the name Bismillah, Ibn ar-Rahman wa Ruh al-Qudus ar-Rahim, that in the name of God, and, Rahman ar-Rahim, referring to the Son and the Spirit, being the merciful and compassionate.
Exactly. So it has to do with the Trinity, basically, and the members of the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Yes. So anyway, but anyway, the next video, I hope it works. I'm afraid that it may be messed up. But this next video, what happened is that the Sheikh asked Husein, he asked him, he says, "Oh, you're not showing any proof, and you're using, is everything that you're saying authentic, or are you just making stuff up and all that?" And then Husein responded to him, and so that's this next video. I hope it's working, but I'm afraid it looks black, which might mean that it's it didn't record right.
Doesn't work. It is what it is, brother.
Okay. Could you go forward in it, sir?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. Oh, I didn't record it right, so okay.
زيد بن ثابت قال لي رسول الله.
Okay, it's gonna start now. All right.
هنا لدينا نريد أن نثبت أصل القرآن كيف أخذت الاقتباسات، القرآن كيف اقتبس. فمثلا عندنا نبي الإسلام محمد كان يأمر زيد بن ثابت أن يتعلم العبرانية والسريانية ليترجم منها التوراة والإنجيل. فحديث عن زيد بن ثابت قال لي رسول الله إنه يأتيني كتب من ناس لا أحب أن يقرأها أحد، فهل تستطيع أن تعلم كتاب العبرانية والسريانية؟ قال فقلت نعم فتعلمتها. هذا في طبقات ابن سعد الجزء الثاني وصفحة 115، وكنز العمال المتقي الهندي جزء 16 صفحة 9، وعن ابن عساكر وابن أبي داود في المصاحف السجستاني، والمصادر كلها معروضة، لا أريد أن أقرأ أطيل فيها.
Okay. If I could just talk about this one, just because there's a little bit of background about why he said that. Yeah, the sheikh from Indonesia, he said to him, dude, he says, this thing that you're showing, this Assyrian thing, you got a big problem. And that is that the Quran isn't in Assyrian, it's in Arabic. So he's saying, you know, it's not the same. So you can't be saying that this Assyrian thing is the same as this, the Fatiha, you know? And he says, you need to show me how did they get to Muhammad, this Assyrian thing, you know, and the Assyrian connection, you know, with the Quran. And so this is what Husein was saying here, is that from the Tabaqat al-Kubra and these other sources, saying that Muhammad told Zayd ibn Thabit, the one who compiled the Quran both times, he told him to learn Assyrian and to learn Hebrew, to learn those. He told him to learn those two languages so that he could read these books that Muhammad did not want people to know about. Muhammad didn't want people to know about these books that he told Zayd he wants him to learn Syrian and Hebrew so that he could read them. But it says he didn't want people to know about these books, you know, and these are the books that, so they could learn these stories. And then he told them to read to read the Bible, to translate the Bible.
Exactly. He wanted someone he can trust to translate these Hebrew and Syriac writings for him, so he probably can pick and choose what he likes, maybe modify it if he wanted. But it's kind of interesting, right? Because he doesn't want to be exposed. Yeah. He doesn't want to look like he is being played around by others, or at least accused by others, you know. I mean, typical stories about, I mean, this is what I love about the Islamic sources. He used, you know, Ibn Sa'd, Kitab al-Tabaqat, the layers, which is basically a historical book, very well known among the Islamic, scholars and communities. So he is quoting from there. Therefore, no one can accuse him and say, oh, that's not found in Islamic source. It is. This is one of the main traditional sources, historical Islamic sources, and he's quoting from it, showing that Muhammad did have access to Syriac writings, to Hebrew writings. We know in the Quran that Muhammad did borrow things from the Hebrew Bible. For instance, we find you know, examples like this, you know, that Muhammad borrowed from the Hebrew Bible from, for instance, Exodus 21 verse 23 about an eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. So this was borrowed actually from the Hebrew Bible. We know that Muhammad had access to the parable of the seed and the sower that is found in the Gospel of Mark chapter 4 verses 26 to 28. This is found in the Quran as well. So we know that Muhammad did have access to these resources, and probably the biblical one, that the New Testament one, was actually in Syriac, since the Syriac church was the predominant church in the Arabian Peninsula in those days. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so You know, what I wanted to show you, and I'm having trouble uploading the video, is that is the sheikh who's doing this debate with Husein. He got really irritated at the beginning. He came on like he says, your documents, they're not. You got to make sure that they've been researched, and you know, just going on and on about the picture, you know, the document and the manuscript itself, you know. And then he said to Husein, he said, then if you don't, you are a liar. You are, and what you're saying is the lie, and you are a liar. And Husein said to the moderator, he said, dude, one of the ground rules that we made when we agreed to this debate is that we will not insult each other. And he just insulted me. And you know what?
He apologized to him,
The man apologized. And so, so, you know, I was just so impressed by this guy, Husein. I'm so impressed with his maturity, with he's 23 years old, you know?
And I think I asked you if you can really get a hold of him and see if he will be open to coming on our channel here so that you and I can interview him and we can discuss things like this. But all that to say, brother, is that I don't think we need to show this because you've already summarized it very well. I mean, the imam was very, very belligerent, by the way, very disrespectful, and he apologized, and rightfully so, for being such a nasty person with the debater. I mean, Husein was very respectful. He did not really insult him. He did not use any profanities. He wasn't mocking anybody. He was just corresponding to request and providing evidence. And he did stay. I like what Husein said, the debater, I should say, Husein, the debater, said in the video when he was insulted. He says, only weak people insult others, which is true. I mean, it's a sign of weakness when you insult people, use ad hominem and personal attacks. So, brother, go ahead.
There's another part in the debate. What happens? This other guy, he kept saying, you know, this guy kept trying to come in because he saw that the sheikh was collapsing and he wanted to help him. And Husein said, okay, it'll be fine for him to come on, but first of all, you have to admit that the sheikh was defeated. And so I have just this one last video, which I really like what he says in it. It's very short, but if we could play this. This is the last one, so.
Sure. You put it already?
Yeah, it's one of the black ones here. So.
All right, I'll play it then.
Okay, we may need to go forward.
وعنده محفوظ. تعال لنقرأ لنكتشف. في الدر المنثور للسيوطي الجزء السادس صفحة 422 وأخرج ابن مردويه عن عمر بن الخطاب قال رسول الله القرآن 1000 حرف و27,000 حرف. يعني ايش قد 1,720,000 حرف. لكن القرآن الحالي كم؟ 320,015. يعني بعد كم؟ بعد 300 ب300 بعد 4 أضعاف هذا القرآن ضايع. فكيف تقول القرآن عنده سند؟ لا أعلم.
That was an interesting one. So the gentleman, Husein the debater, the guy who is the Christian from Iraq, was saying that, and he was providing a resource or a source, an Islamic source, that the Quran, according to this source, according to Muhammad, should have basically, or should have a total of 1,720,000, I believe, letter. About let's say it 1,700,000 letters. Then Husein, the debater, says, but today's Quran has much less than that, has a fraction of that, about 320,000, which means like 4 times what we have today is missing. And the idea is just a simple mathematical equation. You have a number of letters that you have in your hand. There is a claim that 5 times that should have been in your hand. So the fact that you only have a portion of it, a big part has been missing. And that's the claim that he's making, or at least the evidence that he's presenting to prove that part of the Quran is missing.
Big part. You know, and it reminds me also of what Omar bin Khattab said, he says that whoever has a Quran, don't say I have the whole Quran. Say I have what's left of it. Essentially, because so much has been lost. So anyway, that's they've been planning this debate for a long time, and there was so much work went into. I was watching as they were doing some of the negotiating with the Indonesian team and everything to bring this about. And dude, it was just so awesome to see how the truth, and somebody who does the work, he has done the work, man. He did his homework to bring, to answer every question so perfectly with so many sources. The other sheikh, dude, he ran, all he was talking was cliches. He says, how could the Quran, you say this about the Quran, it's from Jibreel, it's from, all these typical arguments, but no sources. And, I just thought he did such an amazing job. And, I learned so much watching it. So anyway, thank you for giving me an opportunity to share this with your viewers.
Absolutely. And thank you, of course, for agreeing to, like I said, to change the topic in such a short notice. And the reason why I figured this would be much more powerful than what we initially intended to talk about. Now, I want to let everybody know that myself and my brother here will be working together. Hopefully we can do this weekly, brother, if your schedule permits. Worst case, bi-weekly. And I want us to focus on Arabic stuff. Yeah. Why? Because, I cannot fault the, Europeans or American church. They do not speak the Arabic, or even if they do, the accusations that they're going to receive from our Muslim friends. You're not an Arab originally, or you don't understand Arabic. So, okay, we're Arab, and we are going to, take a shot at, some of the controversial issues in the Quran, terminologies, maybe some of the troubled, basically verses or passages that are being translated differently, out of embarrassment and so on and so forth. So this is hopefully going to be the theme that we will focus on if possible. And if not, we'll talk about other things as well. Final words for you, brother.
Well, just that, when as I watched this debate, I literally saw you saw how the imam at the beginning was so belligerent, so rude. At the end of it, when he knew he was defeated, he knew he was totally defeated, totally outgunned. He didn't know how to respond. And, and then he even says, Husein, do you love me? He even said that, this poor guy, but you know what? It's just like when the truth is presented, this is one thing I heard, Walter Martin used to say this. He says, truth is a lion. You don't need to defend it. You just put it out there. It defends itself. And that's what Husein did. He did this amazing job preparing for this. And he does this on Arabic TV too. And he does it on his own channel and everything. And so just praise God for these tools, these instruments that God is using right now to expose the truth about Islam. And he's also, as you know, an ex-Muslim himself. So anyway, just praise be to God for these wonderful instruments that he's using in these days to show the truth.
Amen, brother. Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our moderators. Thank you for those who joined us here. We had a lot of people from Indonesia, by the way, today. In fact, we had someone from Saudi Arabia who was watching, and we praise the Lord for all of that. And we definitely, I love this time to do shows because it does, basically cater to the people in Australia, New Zealand, and also in Indonesia, Malaysia, and that region. So I promise you folks that we will be doing shows at these times as well. Brother, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. This is Al-Fadi over and out. God bless. Take care.